Hello, grade 7. Good day. Okay, so we are now sa tuang week 4 of our quarter 1. Okay, so our topic for this week is all about properties of real numbers. Okay, so mao ni ang atong i-discuss within this week. Okay, so paminaw mo og tarong sa video class. Ayaw ninyo i-skip para makasabot gyud mo ha. So for our objective, in this lesson class, you will be able to illustrate the different properties of operation on the set of real numbers. So, mo ni ato ang ma-learn after sa ato ang discussion. Kung maminaw mo og tarong, then you will be able to illustrate the different properties of operation on the set of real numbers.
Property. So, we have the closure property. So, what do we mean by closure property? So, these are two integers represented by a and b that are added and multiplied will remain as integers. So, what do we mean by this? Let's have an example. So, if I have a plus b and a and b are integers, the resulting sum is also an integer. And then, if you will be multiplying two integers also, a times b, the resulting product must be an integer. Okay? Let's have an example. If I have 3 plus 5 is equal to 8, so we all know that 3 is an integer, 5 is an integer, and the result or the sum is also an integer. Now, for multiplication, 3 times 5 is equal to 15, 3 is an integer, 5 is also an integer, and 15 is also an integer. Therefore, closure property is true under addition and subtraction. Therefore, we have closure property of addition and closure property of multiplication. Okay. Is the set of integers closed under subtraction? If I have a minus b, will the resulting difference be also an integer? Let's see. So if I have 3 minus 5 is equal to negative 2. So if this is an integer, 5 is also an integer, the resulting difference is also an integer. Subukan nating pagpalitin. If I have 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. 5 is an integer, 3 is also an integer, and the resulting difference is also an integer. So therefore, is it true that subtraction, we have closure property under subtraction? Yes, it is also closed under subtraction. So closure property is true under subtraction. Okay? Now, how about in division? Okay, let's have an example. If I have 16 divided by 4, the resulting quotient is 4. And 4 is an integer. Okay, so pagpalitin natin sila, 4 divided by 16, that is 1/4, right? And 1/4 is not an integer. So therefore, closure property is not true under division. Okay, another property is we have the commutative property. What do we mean by commutative property? This is where we are changing the order. Take note of the word order of the addends or factors, and it does not affect the result. Anong ibig sabihin nun? The result is not changing. Okay, so let's have an example. If I have a plus b, pag binaliktad daw natin siya, yung order niya, ginawa nating b plus a, they are still equal daw. So, mamaya magbibigay ako ng example if this is true under addition. If commutative property is true under addition. Now, for multiplication, if I have a times b is equal to b times a, pag binaliktad ba natin siya, equal pa rin kaya sila? So, let us see. Let's have an example if commutative property is true under multiplication. So, I have here 3 plus 5. So, let us try to interchange. So, I have here 5 plus 3. So, this is an example of commutative property. Now, 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. And 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. What have you noticed? they are still equal. Another example, I have 3 plus the quantity of 5 plus 2. So, paano natin to gagawing commutative property? So, etong 5 plus 2, since naka-group siya, ilalagay lang natin siya dun sa unahan, and then si 3, ililipat naman natin siya sa kabila. Okay, so pinagpalit natin yung order niya, yung pwesto. Nauna si 5 plus 2, and then nasa pangalawang place na si positive 3. Okay, so let us add. This will become 7. And 7 plus 3, that is 10. This is 7. 7 plus 3, that is also 10. And as you can see, they are still equal. So this is an example of commutative property under addition. Let's have multiplication. So I have here 3 times 5. Baliktarin natin. 5 times 3. So let's see. 3 times 5 is equal to 15. 5 times 3 is equal to 15. Are they equal? Are they the same? Yes. Okay. Next. 2 times the quantity of 3 times 4. So, kapag gagawin natin siyang commutative property, mag-uuna si 3 times 4 times 2. So, pinagpapalit natin yung kanyang order. Now, let's see if commutative property is true under multiplication. So, 3 times 4 is equal to 12 times 2, that is 24. On the other side, 3 times 4, that is 12, times 2, that is also 24. So, they are still equal. So, therefore, commutative property is true under addition. That's why we have commutative property of addition. And also, it is true under multiplication. So, commutative property of multiplication. So, kapag sumasagot tayo ng mga properties, let us try to be specific. Saan? Saan siya commutative? Is it under addition or multiplication? Okay, next. Let's have the third property, associative property. Kung ang commutative property is changing the order, now, this time, we are changing the groupings. Okay? Yung group. Paano ba natin malalaman na naka-group siya? Kapag ginagamitan siya ng brackets or parenthesis. So, tatandaan na kapag groupings ang pinag-uusapan natin, ginagamitan siya ng brackets or parenthesis. Okay? So, again, what is associative property? This is where we are changing the grouping of the addends or factors, but it does not affect the result. We can still come up with the same result. Okay? Ano yung result? Yung sum and product. Okay? So, let's have the representation. So, if I have A plus B plus C, what do we mean by grouping? So, ibig sabihin dito, ito yung nakagroup niya. So, ang nakagroup dito ay A plus B. Kung i-apply natin ang associative property, as you can see, ang nakagroup na ngayon ay yung B plus C. So, dito, A plus B, on the right side of the equation, ang magkasama na ay si B plus C. So, anong ginamit dito? Brackets. Okay? Sometimes they are using parentheses. Okay? Now, so, this one naman, eto sa addition to ha, and then this one in multiplication, so ganun din. A times B, sila yung magkasama. On the right side of the equation, ang magkasama na o yung nakagroup ay B times C. So, this is what do we mean by grouping. So, yung kanina, yung commutative property, pinagpapalit natin ng pwesto. Etong A plus B, nilagay lang siya dito yung A plus B, tapos si C, siya yung nandito. Okay? And then this time, we are changing the groupings. Let's have an example. So, if I have here the quantity of 3 plus 5 plus 2, so this is addition ha, paano natin i-apply yung associative property dito? So, kung sa left side of the equation natin, magkasama si 3 plus 5. Pagdating sa right side of the equation, 3 plus the quantity of 5 plus 2. Ang magkasama na ngayon ay yung 5 plus 2. So, tingnan mabuti. Tingnan mabuti yung groupings nila. Nagbago. Okay? So, let us solve. 3 plus 5 is equal to 8 plus 2. And then on the right side of the equation, we have 3. 5 plus 2, that is 7. Now, kung mapapansin nyo, magkaiba sila. Okay, let's see if they are still equal under associative property. So, 8 plus 2, that is 10. 3 plus 7, that is also 10. Now, what have you noticed? They are still equal. Okay, so therefore, associative property is true under addition. Let's have multiplication. So, I have here the quantity of 2 times 3 times 4. So, kung i-apply natin ang associative property, that will become 2 times, ito na ngayon ang magka-group, si 3 times 4. Okay? So, let us solve. 2 times 3, that is 6. And then, bring down 4 equals 2 times 3 times 4, that is 12. Okay, so magkaiba ulit sila. But let's see if we will still get the same answer. So, 6 times 4, that is 24. 2 times 12, that is also 24. And they are equal. So, therefore, we have associative property of addition. So, be specific. And associative property of multiplication. Bakit meron tayong associative property sa addition and multiplication? Kasi kagaya ng examples ko, true sila. Okay. Let's have the fourth property, which is the distributive property. From the word distribute, ibibigay mo siya sa bawat isa. Okay? So, for any integers A, B, and C, so A, B, and C are integers. Now, if I have here A times the quantity of B plus C, si A, ita-times mo kay B, that's why we have A times B. And then si A ulit, ita-times natin kay C, that's why we have A times C. Now, this is addition because the operation here is addition. And then, sa subtraction, A times B, that's why we have A times B. And then A again, times C, that's why we have A times C. And then now, this time, this is subtraction because this is subtraction. Let's have an example. So, if I have here negative 6 times the quantity of 5 plus 3, how are we going to illustrate distributive property here? So, negative 6 times 5, ganyan ang gagawin natin. Doon muna siya sa first integer natin. So, we will have negative 6 times 5. Let's have the next one. Negative 6 times 3. So, ito yon, negative 6 times 3. Take note of your operation because this is addition. Now, let us solve. So, we have negative 6 times 5, that is negative 30. And then, negative 6 times 3, that is negative 18. So, plus negative 18. Now, kung babalikan natin yung rules natin ng pag-add ng integers, same sign, diba? Same sign, add and keep. So, same sign, i-add natin. So, that is negative 48. Now, let us see. Tingnan nga natin kung makukuha natin ng negative 48 kung hindi natin gagamitan ng distributive property. So, ito yung original, diba? So, let us see kung negative 48. So, 5 plus 3, that is 8. And then, bring down negative 6. Now, negative 6 times 8, that is negative 48. So, as you can see, using distributive property, ganun pa rin ang makukuha nating sagot. So, therefore, distributive property under addition is true. Let's have subtraction. So, we have 4 times 4, and then 4 times 2. Now, take note of your operation. This is already subtraction. So, 4 times 4, that is 16. And then 4 times 2, that is 8. So, 16 minus 8, that is 8. Now, let's see, without using distributive property. So, bring down 4, and then 4 minus 2, that is 2. So, 4 times 2, that is 8. So, this is what we call distributive property. Okay, use distributive property to find each product. Actually, we can also apply distributive property when we are multiplying numbers. Okay? So, like this. So, yung kapag medyo we cannot solve numbers mentally, we can apply distributive property. How? So, if I have here 8 times 13, we can have it 8 times 10 plus 3. Since 10 plus 3 is equal to 13. Okay? So, paano natin gagawin? Apply natin ang distributive property. So, 8 times 10 and 8 times 3. Okay, let's solve. So 8 times 10, that is 80, plus 8 times 3, that is 24. Let us add. So that is 104. So 8 times 13 is equal to 104. Another example. So, pwede natin i-apply ang distributive property dito. If you cannot solve, or if you cannot multiply numbers mentally, pwede naman. Okay, so 7 times 100 plus 4, since 100 plus 4 is 104. So, we have 7 times 100 and 7 times 4. Okay, so let us solve. 7 times 100, that is 700. And 7 times 4, that is 28. So, we have 728. 7 times 104 is equal to 728. Identity property. So, what do we mean by identity property? So, meron tayong additive identity property. Ano nga ba ito? The sum of any number and 0 is the given number itself. Let's have an example. Okay. So, ibig sabihin, eto daw number na to, kahit ano daw number ang i-add natin sa 0, the resulting sum is the given number itself. What do we mean by this? Kung ang 5 in-add mo sa 0, the result is also 5. Kung ang 8 in-add natin sa 0, the result is also 8. Okay? So, ito yung tinatawag nating additive identity property where we are adding 0 to the given number and the resulting sum is the given number itself. So, anong napansin nyo? Pareho sila, magkamukha. That's why it is called identity. Doon nang galing yung salitang identity kasi yung sagot natin ay kamukha kung ano yung given number niya. So 5, the result is 5. 8, the result is 8. But take note, if you will add 0. So ang tanong dito, kailan tayo nagkakaroon ng additive identity property? So, dapat take note, ano dapat ang i-add natin sa kanya. So, para ang result niya ay identical sa kanya or ma-prove natin yung additive identity property, ano ang i-add natin sa kanya? Correct. That is 0. So, therefore, ang 0, ito yung tinatawag nating identity element ng addition. Okay? Kaya siya tinawag na identity element kasi additive identity property. So, kapag itong property na to ang pinag-uusapan, 0 ang i-add natin or 0 is the identity element para matawag natin siyang additive identity property. Now, for multiplicative identity property, this is the product of any number and 1 is the given number itself. So, kagaya rin ito, but this time, this is already multiplication kasi we are referring to the product. So, any number daw, any number na i-multiply natin sa 1, the resulting product is the number itself. Let's have an example. Okay, so I have here 5 times 1, that is still 5. 8 times 1, that is still 8. So, they are identical. Ibig sabihin, magkamukha, pareho. That's why it is called multiplicative identity property. Now, what makes your product similar to the given number? When we are multiplying the number by 1. So, therefore, ano ang identity element sa multiplication? Very good. That is 1. So, the identity element for multiplication is 1. Next property is the inverse property. So, we have additive inverse property. The sum of any number and its additive inverse is 0. Let's have an example. Okay. So, as you can see, this is positive 5, this is negative 5, this is negative 8, positive 8, negative 9, positive 9. Okay. So, ano bang tawag natin dito sa additive inverse? Ano nga ba ito? Ito yon. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating additive inverse, this is the opposite. So, what do we mean by opposite? Positive, you will add negative. Negative, you will add positive. Negative, you will add positive. Bakit add? Kasi additive. Inverse means Additive inverse means positive, negative, negative, positive, or this is the opposite. Now, anong sinasabi ng additive inverse property? Kapag nag-add daw tayo ng any number, and yung additive inverse niya o yung tinatawag din nating opposites, ito yon. The resulting sum is always 0. Now, if you have noticed, 0 is the identity element in additive identity property. Now, let's have multiplicative inverse property. The product of any number and its multiplicative inverse or reciprocal is 1. So, this time, we are referring to multiplication since the word here is product. Okay? So, when we are multiplying any number and its multiplicative inverse o yung tinatawag nating reciprocal, the resulting product is always equal to 1. Let's have an example. Okay, paano ba kinukuha ang reciprocal? Okay, we all know that 5 is equivalent to 5 over 1. So, 5 over 1, the reciprocal is 1 over 5 or 1/5. Negative 8, that is equivalent to negative 8 over 1. So, ang reciprocal niya is 1 over 8. And 1/4, the reciprocal is 4. Okay, now take note. If the given number, yung tinutukoy dito na any number, ito yon. So, if this is negative, the reciprocal or yung multiplicative inverse natin should also be negative. Tatandaan yan. Kung positive naman, the reciprocal should also be positive. Okay, balikan natin yung definition. Any number and its multiplicative inverse or reciprocal, the resulting product is always equal to 1. Okay, ano nga ba yung mga multiplicative inverse? Ito yon. So, this is the reciprocal o yung tinatawag nating multiplicative inverse. Now, lilinawin ko ulit na ang additive inverse natin at multiplicative inverse ay magkaiba. Pag sinabi nating additive inverse, it's the opposite. Positive, you will add negative. Negative, you will add positive. Pag sinabi naman nating multiplicative inverse, yung number mo, kukunin mo yung reciprocal niya. Now, take note of your symbol ha. If it's positive, the reciprocal is positive. If it's negative, the reciprocal is negative. Okay? And the product is always 1. So, kung mapapansin nyo, kung babalikan natin yung previous slide, 1 is the identity element in additive identity property. Okay, so let's have the zero property of multiplication. The product of any number and 0 is always equal to 0. So, in each of these equations below, 0 is one of the factors. So, ibig sabihin, kahit ano daw i-multiply natin sa number, kapag minultiply natin siya sa 0, the product is always 0. That's why it is called zero property. Okay? Now, so, halimbawa, 5 times 0, that is 0. 5 times 0, that is 0. Next, gamitan ko ng parenthesis, 5 times 0, that is still 0. Baliktarin ko siya, 0 times 5, that is still 0. So, anong gustong sabihin nito ng zero property? Na kahit anong number ang i-multiply natin sa 0, the product is always 0. Okay? Now, take note. Tingnan nyo yung mga symbols na ginamit ko dito. I used, that operator, multiplication symbol, parenthesis, so kahit ano pang symbol yan. Basta nag-multiply tayo ng 0 o ginamit natin ang 0 as one of the factors, kahit malaking number pa yan, ang resulting product niya is always 0. Okay,
so let's have an activity in properties of real numbers. So, kabalo naman ta sa properties of real numbers ba? Okay, so let's have an activity. Okay, we have letter A, 4 plus quantity 5 plus 6 equals 4 plus quantity 6 plus, unsay butang na to diri sa blank? Okay, unsa to ibutang para equal sila sa first equation? It is 5. And then, what do you observe sa ilaha? So, in the first expression, what did you observe to the second expression? Gibaylo lang ang position ni 6 og ni 5. Therefore, what do you call that property? Nga kanang ibaylo-baylo lang nimo sila, class. It is commutative property. Very good. Okay, let's have letter B. 8 times quantity 4 plus 3 equals 8 times quantity 3 plus, unsay kulang? What is missing term? It is 4. So, what did you observe sa naka-quantity, class? Gibaylo lang ang position ni 3 and ni 4. So, therefore, unsay tawag ang gibaylo-baylo? It is commutative property. Okay, nasabtan? Let's proceed to letter C. 4 plus 8, quantity 4 plus 8 plus 10 equals blank. Unsa ning blank dari, class? It is, unsa man daw, B? 4. It is 4 plus quantity 8 plus, unsa ning blank na po dani? It is 10. So what have you observed to the expression in the first expression? Giuna og quantity 3, 4 plus 8. Therefore, kani ang unahon nimo pag add ay si 10. But in the second expression, gi-quantity nato si 8 og si 10. So unsay tawag nimo ana nga property? What do you call this property? It is associative property. So atong gibalhin-balhin, atong gikuan kung kinsay unahon nato pag add, but still it will give us the same answer. Okay? Letter D. 4 times quantity 7 plus 5 equals 4 times 7 plus 4 times what? What is the missing term here? It is 5. So what have you observed? In the first expression, naka-quantity si 7 plus 5. And then in the second expression, na-multiply na sila tanan ni 4. Ang naka-quantity numbered, i-multiply na to sila sa 4. So what do you call this property? Nga kanang, ang kaning gali si, kaning na first nato diri, kay atong gihatod-hatod ani, atong gi-distribute daani. It is distributive property. So, nasabtan ang mga properties of real numbers. There are a lot of properties of real numbers ahead sa ato ang discussion. Okay? So, stay focused, class, ha? Very good. Okay, so let's have another example in properties of real numbers. So, in this example, statement na siya, class. If A is equal to 7 plus B is equal to 4 and C is equal to 5, show that, so, pangitaon na to, si A plus B equals B plus A. So, unsa daw? Unsaon man nature? So, yun na kayo na, class. Just fill up the value. So, what is our A? It is 7 plus 4. What is our B? 4 equals B 4 plus 7. So, sayon ra kaayo. Okay? And then, sa gitawag ni mo na nga property, class? Nga kanang gibaylo-baylo ra na silang duha, o. Ang position ni 7 og ni 4 kay gibaylo ra diri sa pikas. It is commutative property. Dili kalimtan, ha? And then, okay, let's proceed. 7 plus 4 is equal to what? 11. 4 plus 7 is equal to 11 also. Do they have the same answer? Yes, they have. Okay, so let's have number 2. Example number 2. A times B is equal to B times A. So, what is our A? It is 7. What is our B? It is 4. So, at 7 times 4 equals B times A. 4 times 7. So, parehas lang ba na silang answer, class? Nga si 7 times 4 o si 4 times 7? Do they have the same answer? Yes. They are all equal to 28. Very good. Okay, let us continue in our activity, properties of real numbers. So, the same statement if A is equal to 7, B is equal to 4, and C is equal to 5, show that, number 3 na ta class, quantity A plus B plus C equals A plus quantity B plus C. So what is our A again? It is 7. What is our B? It is 4. What is our C? It is 5. And then, therefore, 7 plus 4 plus 5 equals 7 plus quantity 4 plus 5. So, what is 7 plus 4 class? It is 11 plus 5 and then equals 7 plus 4 plus 9. 4 plus 5, it is equal to 9. And then 11 plus 5, it is equal to 16. And then 7 plus 9 is equal to 16. So, they have the same answer. By the way, unsay tawag ninyo ani nga property? Nga kanang ato siyang gibaylo-baylo na to unsay unahon pag add. Atong gi-quantity unahon pag add. What do you call this property? It is associative property. Yes. Okay. Number 4, we have A quantity B plus C equals AB plus AC. So, what is our A? 7, B, 4. Ang C na to kay 5. Okay, so this is now 7 times quantity 4 plus 5 equals 7. 7. So, di ba, i-times na to si A o si B. So, 7 times 4 plus 7 times 5. So, sa itong gibuhat, atong gidistribute si 7 dari sulod sa quantity. So, sa kalin natawag nga property anang hingana nga i-distribute. It is distributive property. Okay. And now, let's have, what is, di ba, class, kung kinsay naka-parenthesis, naka-quantity or parenthesis, mo na siya unahon na to pag answer. So, 4 plus 5, it is equal to 9. And then, 7 times 9 equals 7 times 4, it is 28. 7 times 5 is equal to 35. So, now, ato na din na silang i-simplify. 7 times 9 is equal to 63. 28 plus 35 is equal to 63. So, do they have the same answer? Yes, they have. Okay, nasabtan? Nasabtan ang mga properties sa real numbers? Very good. Okay, so our next property is associative property. Yung sa galing ng associative property, ato silang i-grupo-grupo. Okay, so we have used the associative property to evaluate each. So, letter A, we have 78 plus 22 plus 66 plus 34 plus 23. So, unsa man natong buhaton ani? Ato silang i-grupo-grupo atong unahon pag add. So, first, unahon nato si 78 plus 22. And then, ato siyang ibutang og isa ka parenthesis plus, i-parenthesis na po nato si 66 plus 34. Isa na po siya ka grupo. And then, si 23 dayon. Wala na grupo si 23. Okay? Okay. Teacher, pwede si kuan 22 plus 66 ang amo ang i-group? Yes. Pwede kaayo. Teacher, pwede si 34 o si 23 amo ang i-group? Yes. Pwede kaayo. Okay? So, next is, what is 78 plus 22? It is 100. Plus 66 plus 34, it is also 100. And then plus 23. So 100 plus 100 plus 23 is equal to 223. Okay, so nasabtan ninyo ang associative property. Ato silang grupo-grupo ahay unahon na to pag answer. Okay? Next. So we have 21 plus quantity negative 15 plus 15 plus 48 plus quantity negative 48 plus 8. Okay, so first is ang ato ang gibuhat class kay di ba negative 15 plus 15. So di ba kung mag-add ta og number nga ato ang gi-add kay ihang opposite, it will give us a sum of 0. So negative 15 plus 15 ang ato ang i-grupo class. Okay? And then 48 plus negative 48. Okay, ato po na silang i-grupo kay di ba si 48 ang iyang opposite kay negative 48. So therefore 0 na ang ilahang sum. So kana sila nga to ang i-grupo og una. Okay, so we have 21 plus quantity negative 15 plus 15 plus quantity 48 plus negative 48 plus 8. Okay, so we have 21 plus 0. Negative 15 plus 15 is equal to 0. And then plus 48 plus negative 48 is equal to 0. And then plus 8. Okay? 21 plus 0 plus 0 plus 8 is equal to 29. Very good. Nasabtan ninyo class? Associative property of addition? Nasabtan. Very good. Okay? Since we are done with our discussion, let us now have our activity. So for your activity grade 7, you are going to answer lesson 1.3. So i-open niyo na inyong mga libro and then you are going to answer try it 2, try it 3, and try it 4. Okay, muna inyong answeran class. Write your answer in one whole sheet of paper. Do not forget to write your name as well as the week. So for this activity, this is week 4. Okay, sulat niyo dira inyong ngalan and then week 4. Okay, and then you are going to pass your output or your activity on September 27, 2021. Again, September 27. Late papers will be deducted. Okay? So, if you have questions, clarifications about our discussion, you can call to my number 0967-2174-222. Okay? So, pwede ra mo manawag kung namoy mga pangutana or magpatudlo mo kay wala mo kasabot. Okay? Pwede ra mo makatawag. Okay? So, I think that's all for this week, class. I hope you have learned something or you have learned a lot from this lesson. So, that's all. God bless everyone and goodbye.